AITA for refusing to let my brother's family move in after he evicted me years ago. Just after 6 months of staying at my brother's place when I struggled financially, they kicked me out because when Karen, his wife, got pregnant, they wanted a guest room for a nursery. Now they faced financial issues. They turned to me for a temporary stay at my apartment. But the thing is, Karen hasn't apologized to me once for how they treated me. And my brother just guilt-tripped me to not let them stay. Alright, this is a long one, and I honestly need an outside perspective. Several years ago, I, 28F, was living with my older brother, Tom, 37M, and his wife, Karen, 34F. I had just graduated from college, had a pretty bad job at the time, and was struggling to make ends meet. Tom had a house with a guest room, and he told me I could stay with them for a while until I got back on my feet. I was beyond grateful, and I made sure to help out however I could. Cooking, cleaning, buying groceries when I could afford it. Fast forward about 6 months. I finally landed a decent job and was able to contribute more financially. I was on my way to becoming independent. Around this time, Karen got pregnant. At first, everything seemed fine, but then Karen started dropping subtle hints that they needed more space for the baby. The hints soon turned into direct conversations about how they needed the guest room for a nursery. Tom assured me that I could stay until I found a new place, but Karen was clearly becoming more agitated by the day. Then, one afternoon, I came home from work to find all my stuff packed up and sitting in the hallway. Tom told me that Karen had decided they needed me out ASAP. No discussion, no warning. He tried to soften the blow by saying they'd help me with a security deposit on a new place, but it was humiliating and hurtful. I ended up couch surfing for a couple of months until I could afford a small studio apartment. It was a really tough time for me, both emotionally and financially. I'll never forget the feeling of being thrown out of my own brother's house like that. Fast forward to now. Tom's life has taken a turn. His business went under and they're having financial issues. Last week, he called me out of the blue, sounding desperate. They're being evicted from their house and have nowhere to go. He asked if he, Karen, and their 2 kids could stay with me for a few months while they get back on their feet. Here's the thing. I'm doing much better now. I have a good job, a nice apartment, and I've been saving for a house. I can technically accommodate them, but the thought of letting them move in after what they did to me years ago just doesn't sit right. I told Tom I needed to think about it, and ever since, he's been sending me guilt-trippy texts about how family is supposed to be there for each other and how they have nowhere else to go. Even my parents have gotten involved, saying I should let them stay with me because they're family, and what happened years ago is in the past. But here's the kicker. Karen hasn't apologized once for how they treated me. Not a word. She didn't even acknowledge it when we spoke on the phone. It's like they expect me to just forget about it and welcome them with open arms. I'm torn. Part of me feels like I should help because they are my family, but the other part of me feels like this is karmic justice. AITA for refusing to let them stay with me after what they did? Or should I let the past go and help them out in their time of need? Relevant comments. Commenter. Interesting that the parents aren't offering to house them or Karen's family. Commenter. My guess is they have been down that road and were denied. The common denominator here looks like Karen. It is possible Karen has seen her way through to alienating other family members as well. Commenter. Right. Out of sense of returning the favor, I'd allow only the brother to stay for a few months. At which, during some random moment, his things will be packed up and he'll be kicked out. Or they can stay with parents who are much more concerned about family. Commenter. If you let them in, you will not get rid of them. Mother with small children is a nightmare to evict. For this reason alone, NTA, do not let them in. Do not. Last week, Tom came to me and said that Ryan's lease on his temporary apartment was up, and he didn't have anywhere to go. Tom suggested that Ryan move in with us for a while, maybe 6 months, until he's back on his feet. He was very casual about it, like it was no big deal, but to me it is a big deal. Tom and I both work full-time, and we've finally been getting to a good place financially. We bought our first house a year ago, and we're trying to start a family soon. The idea of having Ryan move in, even temporarily, felt like a huge disruption to our lives. I told Tom that I wasn't comfortable with Ryan living with us long-term. I suggested we could help Ryan find a new apartment, and even offered to chip in for his first month's rent, if money was tight. Tom, however, didn't take it well. He said that Ryan is like a brother to him, and that if we were in the same situation, Ryan wouldn't hesitate to help us. He said Ryan had nowhere else to go, and that he couldn't turn his back on his best friend in his time of need. The argument got pretty heated. I tried explaining that it's not about me not liking Ryan, but that I value our privacy and want to focus on our marriage and starting our own family. Tom accused me of being selfish and said that I only cared about myself. He even suggested that if I loved him, I'd be willing to sacrifice for the people he loves too. Since then, things have been tense between us, and Tom has been distant. Ryan doesn't know any of this, as far as I'm aware. He's still staying in his temporary apartment for another couple of weeks, and I know Tom wants me to change my mind. I feel terrible, because I know Ryan's going through a lot, but I also think it's fair for me to have a say in who lives in our home. My own parents think I should just let Ryan stay, saying that it's what family does, but my friends are on my side, saying that it's too much to ask of me. So, AITA for not wanting my husband's best friend to move in with us after his divorce? Relevant comments. Commenter, 6 months off the bat seems pretty premeditated. I don't believe that Ryan is clueless about this. Tom and Ryan sure as hell have talked about this. NTA, you have valid reasons for not wanting a third person in your new family. And long-term guest would always be a 2 yes, 1 no scenario anyway. Just be careful if your husband is buying art supplies. Commenter, sounds like he waited, didn't look at all, or OP's hubby made this the plan when he first got the temp lease. I think OP should definitely ask her husband when this was brought up between them. I wouldn't be shocked if this had been her husband's plan the entire time. Story 4, GF, 27F, told a friend that she considers something I, 26M, did before we were exclusive as cheating. I met my girlfriend Abby via a group organized on Meetup 4 years ago. We got to be good friends for a few months, and then I revealed that I was crushing on her. We went on a few dates and then became exclusive. During this 6-month window between when we met and when we became exclusive, I was dating around, mostly using online dating apps. I had 2 girls I would hang out and occasionally hook up with, but knew I did not want to call them my girlfriend, as we did not fully click and had compatibility issues, and they were cool with the situation too, so it wasn't like I was leading them on. Once things seemed to be taking off with Abby, I slowed down on seeing them, and when Abby brought up exclusivity, I happily agreed and broke up with the 2 other girls. Again, I want to reiterate that I tapered off on seeing these other girls as my relationship with Abby was blooming, and then I cut them off as soon as exclusivity was mentioned. I do not and had never considered this dynamic as cheating or anything like that. This past weekend, Abby and I were hanging out with a friend, 25F, who had also been dating around and just had the guy she actually wanted to date dump her because he found out she was seeing other people on the side. I asked if they had had the exclusivity/officially dating conversation, and she said no, there were no rules in place, and it had only been like 3 months, so she had been on occasional dates with other guys, but didn't see much potential in them. Abby said that she didn't blame the guy and she recognized that it was a bit of a gray area, but personally she would consider what the friend did as cheating. Even if there was no official rule about dating other people, the friend shouldn't have dated anyone else if she really wanted to be with this guy. I didn't really say much after that, since I was in the same position before Abby and I started dating. It's been a few days since this conversation, and I'm feeling guilty and conflicted. Should I tell Abby that I semi-dated other people after telling her I liked her? Or should I keep it quiet? Technically, Abby and I never had the conversation, and there was no seeing other people rule in place for the first few months. So I didn't think I did anything wrong, but I also worry that I'm just trying to use a loophole. If she genuinely views it as cheating, then I feel like I did something wrong and I should tell her now, so that way she hears it from me and it is as gentle as possible. But I also am scared that this will destroy an otherwise great relationship over me breaking a rule that I didn't know existed at the time. How should I proceed? Edit. Thanks everyone for feedback. I will tell her tonight. Every time I've tried to justify myself, I feel like I'm using loopholes and technicalities, and I know that's not honest. I don't want to lie to Abby. I can only hope that she understands and we just had different perspectives on this, and that it won't go too horribly. TLDR, before my GF and I became official, I dated around with other people. GF now says to a friend that she would consider that cheating. Should I tell her I was sleeping around before we became exclusive? Relevant comments. Commenter, this situation highlights the difference in values about casual dating. Some people feel that pursuing, dating, and having sex with one person at a time is appropriate, whereas others feel that having casual sex with multiple people simultaneously is okay until exclusivity with one of them is agreed upon. Fairness, accuracy, and the use of certain words, such as cheating or being realistic, just cloud the issue. Either you are intimate with one person at a time or you aren't. No shame either way. Who you want to be with is a preference. Abby is in the one person at a time crowd. I would tell her and deal with it now. Now knowing the situation, you have an obligation to be honest with the person you may get into an LTR with. Commenter, this is why I always made it clear to the men I dated, I am only intimate with one person at a time after an STI test / and we are monogamous. If you don't state it in those terms, and even if you do, people will be promiscuous. OP just gave me the ick big time when he was talking about looking for loopholes, etc. I just have to wonder how many of the guys I was starting to date were also going behind my back and also hooking up with 2 other girls at the same time. Just ish. Grody. Commenter, you should tell her, because if she finds out from someone else in the future, it'll be so much worse for you. Causal dating is rough because of exactly what you described in this post. You and Abby's friend have a different viewpoint on it than Abby. However, both viewpoints are correct. The key IMO is transparency, and this is where I believe you may have fucked up. If you were sexually active with either girl while also sexually active with Abby, then you should have been forthcoming with that info so that every party involved could be in control of their own sexual well-being. Thank you for sticking around until the end. If you liked our videos, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to keep up with our latest content. Have a wonderful day. Story 2. My 32F boyfriend, 36M, deleted my dead brother from my Instagram friends, and he doesn't seem to understand or care that I'm upset. 6 years ago, my twin brother Sam died in a horrible accident on the freeway. It was one of the biggest accidents in our state. My only comfort is that he died immediately. The police said he most likely had no idea anything was happening around him. Anyway, before he died, Sam was a huge social media user, mostly on Instagram and Snapchat. I never followed him on Snapchat, but I followed him on Instagram. He made thousands of posts about his life, friends, family, music. He was an amazing singer. After he died, I would go to his account and just scan through his account. I mostly watched a few videos he made where he does a dialogue for ESL speakers. He taught English to ESL students for extra money. I'd often pretend that he was speaking to me. I know it's not healthy to listen to my dead brother's voice every day, but it just became a habit. A few weeks ago, my boyfriend had been urging me to break free from this. He told me that I need to move on. I did start. I would only watch one video, or even not use my phone until right before I went to bed. Last night, I went to check my brother's account, and I saw that it was gone. I was upset. I texted my sister, and she said that she could still see his account. My boyfriend told me that he blocked my brother on my account. I was annoyed, but simply thought I could just go back to following him. But my brother's account was private, and our family couldn't access his account years ago. The reason why he blocked him is because he thought I was in love with my brother, and even accused me of being once intimate with him, my brother. I wanted to vomit. He's my twin. We spent every single day together. Even when we grew up, we went to the same university. At the time of my brother's accident, we were roommates. I loved my brother, but not in a sick way. My boyfriend never met my brother. He and I only started dating 2 years ago. But after this, I don't know if I should continue this relationship. My boyfriend keeps saying that I should move on, and that what he did wasn't a big deal. But it was to me. Our mutual friends agree that I should just forgive and forget, but I feel like I'm grieving again. Relevant comments. Commenter, this is a massive red flag, and you really should reconsider this relationship. This man decided he knew better than you what would be best for you, and is now denying any damage was done. Commenter, he was already on cracked thin ice for blocking her brother's account, but saying that, done. I don't see how anyone can come back from that. The dude basically said he's sexually jealous of her dead brother. Commenter, I cannot stress enough how bizarre and truly evil what he did is. Literally, get your ducks in a row and quietly leave this man. He isn't deserving of a proper breakup, and honestly, it might not even be safe to do so. He's controlling, and what he did is traumatizing and so abusive. I am so sorry that he took that away from you. It's truly horrifying. I accidentally deleted voicemails, and some of my cousins were in there, and I was so bummed. I could not imagine a boyfriend doing it to me. I would literally never say another word to him again. He's disgusting. Again, I'm so sorry. He did it because he doesn't like you. So many relationship problems with men revolve around the fact that they simply do not like you or give a shit about you or your feelings. It's blunt, but it's the truth. He's worse than your enemy because even someone you didn't get along with wouldn't do something so vile to you. Drop him. He can never come back from this. Story 3. AITA for not wanting my husband's best friend to live with us after he got divorced. I, 29F, have been married to my husband Tom, 31M, for 4 years. Tom has a best friend, Ryan, 31M, whom he's known since childhood. They've always been close, and Ryan was even Tom's best man at our wedding. I've always liked Ryan. He's funny and has always been supportive of Tom, but recently, our dynamic has shifted in a way that's making me very uncomfortable. 2 months ago, Ryan's wife filed for divorce, and it's been really rough on him. He didn't see it coming, and he's been devastated. He moved out of their house and has been staying in a small, temporary apartment while he figures things out. Naturally, Tom has been there for him, and I've tried to be as supportive as I can. I made meals for Ryan. invited him over for dinner a few times a week, and listened when he needed to talk. I really wanted to help,